shit. You know, there's not too many people around who can develop a sophisticated virus like this one. I think I already know more than I want to. Okay, the virus has been transferred onto my disk.
What is going on, guys? Rogue TCG here, bringing the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG deck profile. Now, this is a deck that I'm playing currently in paper, and I did actually just bring it to my second regionals in Richmond, and I guess let's just get the score out of the way. I went 5-3. I ended up dropping at round 8, mostly due to my own personal time constraints, but I ended up having a lot of fun with this deck, and I did a lot better than I thought I was going to be doing. So here I am bringing to you the deck profile of what I brought to the regional, being Malice. Malice is a really fun deck in my opinion. I believe it plays very similarly to how Tyr played, except kind of like the reverse, where Tyr lost to D-Shifter and played really well with the graveyard related stuff. Malice plays D-Shifter and plays very frequently with the banish stuff in order to link climb instead of, make the big pile of boards that Tearlament does. But that's enough yapping about the overall deck profile. Let's go into the card by card. Let me give you my specific thoughts about individual cards. Starting off our list, we're on triple Malice P White Rabbit on summon, allowing us to set a Malice trap from our deck with a different name than the cards in our graveyard. And in all our Malice main deck monsters, if they're banished, we're able to pay 300 life points to special summon them from the banish zone, and each of those are hard once per turn. So we need to, when we're playing the deck, we need to make sure we're keeping track of which Malice names we've used the banish effect of in order to keep track of our resources. So we're on triple White Rabbit because this is part of our one card combo, as well as triple copies of Malice P Dormouse. This is another one card full combo. I'll be showing both of the one card combos off at the end of the video. This card reads, Malice Link monsters that this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects. Although, the main deck monsters will also have this effect. Malice P White Rabbit has the effect where you take no battle damage from battles involving Malice Link monsters that point to this card. Dormouse can't be destroyed by card effects, and then Chessie, Link monsters that destroy a monster by battle, banishes the monster that destroyed. Dormouse says on ignition, we're able to banish a Malice monster from our deck, and then for the rest of the turn, after that effect resolves, all our Malice monsters are going to gain 600 tech, and then we'll also have that Malice effect being bring back from banish. And then our last Malice, we are on triple Malice P Chessie Cat. I have seen a lot of people only playing 1 or 2 copies of this card. I do not think that is correct. I think with this archetype being still fairly new, we do need to max out on the Malice names in order to see them as frequently as possible. And Chessie Cat is very strong, allowing us to, on ignition, banish a Malice card from our hand and draw 2 cards. That is all part of the effect, so we don't banish for cost or anything. So we activate it, and if they have Ash in Permaveiler, we check for that, and then if they let it resolve, then we'll banish 1 Malice and then have the ability to draw 2 cards. Since we are banishing a Malice, of course we can use the banished Malice effect in order to bring itself back, so it's a great way to flood the board with more bodies, all off of 1 normal summon. Chessie Cat, fantastic card, and all the Malice monsters, I think you have to kind of be playing them at 3, at least at this exact moment. For our other Malice cards, we're on triple copies of Malice in Underground on activation, allowing us to banish a Malice from our hand, deck, or graveyard. While 3 more of our Malice traps with different names are banished, Malice Link monsters we control gain 3000 attack. That very rarely comes up. And then while we control a Malice Link monster, your opponent's monsters can only target Malice Link monsters for attacks, and you can only activate one Malice in Underground per turn. The main effect of this card, to be completely honest, is that Gold Sarcophagus-like effect where we're able to banish a Malice from our deck, our field, and our graveyard. Sorry, not our field, our hand, not our field. The main thing that's going to be happening is this is going to be banishing a card from our graveyard more times than not. But that's only in terms of our mainline combo. If we open this in our hand, we can use this as an extender in order to banish a Malice from our graveyard in order to keep playing, or this is a fantastic card we can banish off of Chessie Cat. But that's it for our Malice spells. There's only 1 spell in the deck as of right now, so excited to see more spells being added in the future. But now let's get to our Malice traps. We're on 2 copies of Malice C MTP07. This is a little bit off. Most people will only be playing 1 copy of this card, although I personally was opting to play 2. All the Malice traps will have the gimmick where you can activate them to turn their set by banishing a face-up Malice monster we control as an additional cost. And MTP07 allows us to add a Malice monster from our deck to our hand, and if we control a Malice Link monster, we can non-targeting banish a card on field, and we can only use that once per turn. The main reason that we would be playing these Malice traps in higher amounts than 1, 1, and 1 is if we're looking to dodge targeted interaction on our Malice main deck monsters or extra deck monsters. If so, we can have them set before we perform any actions in the turn, and we can dodge targeted interaction with these cards. That is why I am opting to play one additional Malice trap just to increase the probability of opening a Malice trap, as well as increasing the amount of MTP-07s, because this is the one Malice trap that both can search us for a Malice card as well as will interact with our opponent's side of the field in a meaningful way. For our other Malice traps, we're on one CBT-11, allowing us to special summon a Malice from our deck, except neither player can activate the effects of that monster while it's on the field for us the turn. So if we make it leave the field and we bring it back, then we can activate it again, of course. And then we're on one copy of Malice C GWC-06. This is essentially the Call of the Haunted of the deck, where it allows us to bring back a Malice from our graveyard or a banishment. It does not target the Malice that it is bringing back, which is very strong, as well as if we have a link monster at point of resolution, we're able to gain life points equal to the original attack of the monster that we chose to special summon. So, fantastic cards all around. So that is the max amount of the Malice cards that we are willing to play in this list. Next up, for our generic cards, we're on triple Signet Mining because all of the Malices are Cybers. There is also an additional target for this card, but we do need to keep in mind that we cannot Signet Mining under Dimensional Shifter since it does have to send to the graveyard, as well as 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. The Allure of Darkness cost isn't really a cost to have to banish a dark monster from our hand. It's more just a way to get our Malices from our hand onto our side of the field without using our normal summon. For our generic Cybers cards, we're of course on one Dotscaper. This is a necessary card in the Malice deck, and this is your hard Garnet. You need this in deck to be able to banish this off of Red Ransom, so you gotta play it, and you kind of have to hope not to see it. As well as one copy of Code of Soul. This card I like a lot in the list. This card a lot of people are running for a Dark Fluid card, like a target to send to the graveyard, Firewall Dragon, Neo Tempest Terahertz. Not Dark Fluid. I guess it is Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest Terahertz. But this card is basically an IP Masquerade in the graveyard, allowing you to link summon to a Link 3 or higher Cybers Link monster. But it's also just an extender. If you control a Link monster, you can special summon it from your hand. So most of the time during the tournament, what I found this being used for is to be a card that we can search off of Signet Mining. That is one of the only cards in the deck will just special summon itself out of our hand. So I found this to be a very useful card, not really for the graveyard effect, but for that initial effect, as well as it can play mind games with your opponent with the graveyard effect. For other generic cards, we're on one copy of Gold Sarcophagus. This is again very similar to Malice and Underground, where it can start our combos to a degree. Triple copies of Triple Tactics Thrust. This card came up all day when I was playing Malice. The primary card that it was grabbing would be our next card coming up, being Triple Tactics Talents, allowing us to either draw 2, take control of an opponent's monster they control until the end phase, or look at their hand and shuffle one back. What I found I was doing most of the time was either taking a monster or looking at their hand and putting cards back, primarily just to check for Nibiru and other interaction points that they may have in order to either OTK them or allow myself to build a board. And then of course we're on the one Call by the Grave, and then lastly for our hand traps, we are on triple Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, triple Infinite Impermanence, double Ghost Moaner and Moon Chill, one copy of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. This was a pick because I wanted to make sure I had this card in the list to some degree for a crossout target. I was under the impression people would be playing Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion in order to stop my GWC-06, so I wanted to ensure that I had a crossout target for it in the list. However, Bell itself came up multiple times when it was in my hand all day, and it was really working quite well. As well as lastly, we are on Bestials, Druisworm, Baldric, and Magnamut. Both here for the Fiendsmith stuff that I did see all day, as well as here in order to banish our own Malices from our graveyard in order to keep extending even when we're getting interacted on our normal summon. But that's about it for our main deck, a nice solid 41 cards I brought to the regional. In retrospect, there are 2 things that I would have changed. One thing would have been to replace these Mourners with Effect Veilers. I think Effect Veiler is quite strong in this format. Even though Malice has the ability to dodge it, I think it's very strong against Ryziel specifically, especially if you're playing a card like Nibiru. We were able to beat the Fiendsmith Ryziel board with Imperm Nibiru or Veiler Nibiru very easily, allowing us not having to deal with that mess. Another thing that I would also change in retrospect would be including more of the Bestial package into my list in order to see it more frequently, as well as have a larger selection of cards that I have available to side out against the Malice mirror match. One thing with the Malice mirror is you want to keep a lot of these cards in your list for the Malice deck, and so it's pretty difficult to actually side out into cards that you would like to side out into, being Nibiru, Artifact Lancia, and of course Crossout Designator in the mirror. So adding the Bestials into the main deck both gives the deck a stronger competition against the Fiendsmith decks that are still currently roaming around in the meta, as well as giving it the ability to side out a little bit more favorably against opposing Malice decks. So just in retrospect, that is what I think I should have changed, as well as Branded Regained is incredibly strong against Malice this format, so if you are playing, I would recommend considering that in your brews. But let's return this to how it was and let us continue the list. But that's it for our main deck. Now let us get started in our extra. In the extra deck, we're on Malice Link monsters of 1 White Binder, 1 Heart's Cryptor, and 1 Red Ransom. Let's cover Red Ransom first and foremost. And he's 2+ monsters, including a Malice. It's a Link 3. When this card points to a monster, the original attack and defense of all effect monsters your opponent controls are switched. You can only use each of the following effects of Q Red Ransom once per turn. If this is special summoned, you can add 1 Malice spell from your deck to your hand. And if this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points to special summon it, and then you can banish 1 Cyberse monster from our deck at point of resolution. All the Malice Link monsters are going to have the effect where you can pay 900 life points to special summon them from banish, although they all will have a different bonus effect. Red Ransom being banishing a Cyberse from our deck. In this case, it's almost always going to be Scaper. This card is fantastic. It is the first link that we want to be making because, of course, it'll add our Malice and Underground from deck to hand, in which case we can banish a card like White Binder later on in our combo in order to make our full combo. Speaking of White Binder, we're also on the 1 copy of the White Binder. It needs 2+ monsters, including a Malice monster. If it's special summoned, we can target up to 3 cards in any graveyard and banish them. During our main phase, we can set 1 Malice trap from our deck to our deck or graveyard, and that is an ignition effect. And if this card is banished, we can pay 900 life points to special summon it, then we can draw 1 card, and each of those effects is a once per turn. This is a fantastic card, and almost always throughout our combo, we want to make sure we are making this just in order to set that trap from our deck to our field. Most of the time, it is going to be GWC 06. And our last Malice Link monster, of course, is going to be Heart's Cryptor. This one's a little bit more difficult to make. It needs 3 monsters, including a Malice monster. Quick effect, we can target one of our banished Malice cards, shuffle it into the deck, and if we do, banish 1 card on field. While this card points to a monster, or its effects, its activation cannot be negated. If this card is banished, you can pay 900 life points to special summon it and double its attack. That is a permanent doubling of the attack. And you can use each effect of Q Heart's Cryptor once per turn. Fantastic card. In our mainline combo, we're going to be making this close to the end, and the idea is to be bringing it back on our opponent's turn. It can get very large and allows us to OTK with this deck incredibly easy, allowing us to attack for 25 with itself. If you have another monster, for example, swing with another monster, it only has to be 500 attack, really. So in reality, let's say we have this plus Code of Soul. We attack with our Heart's Cryptor for 25, we attack with Code of Soul for 500, that's 3k total. Then we activate Heart's Cryptor Quick Effect, banish itself, effect, pay 900 to special summon itself back from banish, and now it is 5000 attack, ready to do exact lethal to our opponent. Other cards that we're playing, I'm not going to explain these cards all too much because you will be seeing them during the combo. We are on 1 copy of Link Decoder. If we special summon a monster with 2300 or more attack, and this card was used as material for that monster, we can bring it back from the graveyard, except it's banished when it leaves the field. 1 copy of IP Masquerade. This is one of our flex spots in the deck, to be honest. This isn't mandatory at all, so if you wanted to include a different card in the deck, this is one of the slots where you can. 1 copy of SP Little Knight. This card's quite good since it can banish whatever card. We can banish cards from our own graveyard, which is quite strong. 1 copy of Haggard Lizard Dose. This card is actually mandatory in the deck, and last time I covered Malice, I did not include it for some reason. This card just allows us for cost to banish a monster from our graveyard and to change the attack of something on field. It actually can come up by changing our opponent's monster's attack to like 900 like our Dormouse. However, it's just here to banish a card for cost, so we're able to link climb without having to deal with too many hand traps. 1 copy of Splash Mage, just one of our Cyberse locks in our deck, allowing us to target a Cyberse monster in our graveyard, special summon in defense position, negating its effects, and we're locked into Cyberse for the rest of the turn. So we do need to consider this when we're using our Bestials and when we're using our Bestials specifically. We're on 1 copy of the Transcode Talker. This card's how we play through Lancia. The main downside is we cannot use the effect to bring back a card from the graveyard if we have summoned anything except for Cyberse for the rest of the turn, because it is a Cyberse lock and it does check beforehand. So, you know, strong card. It allows us to OTK really easily. While it's co-linked, in its co-linked monsters gain 500 attack. It can be targeted with card effects, and you can target 1 link 3 or lower Cyberse link in your graveyard except for itself. Special summon it to a zone this card points to, and then we're locked for the rest of the locked the turn that we use it, except for Cyberse monsters, which does count before it. So we are playing this just for the Lancia in order, and allows us to OTK. This card came up multiple times all day, so I would not be cutting it in my opinion. Run 1 copy of Firewall Dragon. This card is necessary for the combo, as well as 1 copy of Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest, Terahertz. Man, what a mouthful. But this is a card that we're always going to be ending on, ideally, where this card's going to be sending a card from our deck or extra deck to the graveyard during the turn it's summoned, and then during our opponent's turn it will do the same. The main target that we're going to be sending first and foremost is Cyberse Deceive Worm, which I'm just going to get it over with right now. This card has no actual purpose in our extra deck except for just being sent to the graveyard off of Tempest Terahertz. And while this card's in our graveyard, we control Link 4 or higher Cyberse monster. Quick effect, we can banish this card from our field or graveyard to negate the activation of a spell or trap card or effect our opponent activates. So it's just a spell trap negate that we can send to the graveyard, so yeah. We're also on, this is also a tech card that I was playing, but I was very happy with it all day when I was playing, Topologic Zeroboros. This is a Link monster, a Cyberse Link monster, so we can make this with Code of Soul. It is a Link 4, but it only needs 2+ effect monsters. You cannot summon or set monsters to any EMZs that this card points to. It's only relevant while it's in the middle monster zone, otherwise doesn't come up. If another monster is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to while this card is on field, banish all cards on field. Once per turn during the standby phase, the next turn after this card was banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card, and it gains 200 attack for each banished card. Now, this card is very strong against some specific decks, namely Horus, Rescue Ace, decks like that. Decks that have a lot of back row as well. Labyrinth will also have a very big issue with dealing with this card, and this is one of our easiest ways to OTK through Dimension Shifter. Shifter is quite strong in this list, however, it does mess up your combo lines a lot, because if you remember, we just went through the extra deck. This has to banish from graveyard, this has to special from graveyard, this has to special from graveyard, this has to send to graveyard, this has to be sent to graveyard in order to bring itself back. So a lot of our tools have to do with graveyard, especially in the extra deck department. So if it makes it really difficult to link climb and get to our OTK. So what we're able to do instead is to go into a Zeroboros that is just large as heck, since we're doing our combo under our own Dimension Shifter, meaning all of those cards are getting banished, meaning our Zeroboros can get to numbers such as like 6,000 or so, or even larger, depending on how our opponent is interacting with us as well. Last couple cards, we're on 1 copy of Access Code Talker, excellent tool for OTKing, allowing us to banish our Malice Link monsters from our graveyard to get more numbers on our side of the field. 1 copy of Mirological Aggregator in order to negate face-up cards. It is a Cyberse monster we can send to graveyard with our Neo Tempest Terahertz. And this is also, in conjunction with one of the cards on our side deck, are the best way that we're able to beat Ryzeal. And then, of course, the Deceive Worm that I mentioned previously. I'm not playing Enigmaster Pack Bit. I don't think that card is necessarily that worth it, especially for losing the hand advantage of discarding a card. But that's it for the main and the extra. Now let us cover the last section, the side deck. We're on 2 copies of Artifact Lancia and 2 copies of Nibiru. These are our cross-out targets. These are cards that beat Malice real hard, so we are playing them both to play them against opposing Malices, as well as for cross-out targets. That's why I'm playing 2 and 2. It is here to serve double duty, so we open them more frequently, but also if we do open them, we are more likely to have another copy of them in the deck if we have also opened our cross-out if our opponent has seen it. It's a little bit of a complicated theory, but it did end up working all day during the tournament, so I'm very happy with my choice there. We are choosing to side in Dimension Shifter. It doesn't do as much as I would like to pure Ryzeal. It does hurt Fiendsmith Ryzeal quite a bit, but it doesn't hurt pure Ryzeal as much, so I am opting to side it. It is also quite bad into opposing Malice decks if you are blind, if you're going first and you're blind shiftering, so I do not think blind shiftering is correct in this meta, unfortunately. So we are opting to side in the shifter and siding it in during favorable matchups, such as Voiceless Voice or Yubel. We're also on the triple cross-out designator, good against Lancia and our Nibiru, good against our Mulchummy Fulros, any of the hand traps that we're currently playing on our list, and it's again very powerful against the mirror that we're always going to be playing every once in a while. For our thrust targets, we are always trying to keep our thrust in our deck, so we are playing thrust targets of D-Barrier for Ryzeal and I guess Branded technically, and Ultimate Slayer for Ryzeal again. Ultimate Slayer send Meteorological Aggregator as one of the best ways to clear the Ryzeal end board, so I am opting to play it with just one copy of Ultimate Slayer to grab off of our triple tactics thrust, and then when we know we're going second, I am opting to side into Mulcharmy Fulros, a full playset. But that's going to be about it for the deck profile. I am going to show you both the basic combo, so let me bring you over to those test hands right now. I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I do just want to give you all guys a heads up. We are quickly rising in our subscriber number, and I did want to make you all aware that once we hit 2,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing another giveaway. Now, I remember I did one once we hit 500 subscribers, and we did a special thing for 1,000, so I want to do something special for 2,000. And you see this beautiful mat right here? Well, it can be yours. I have 2 extra mats. There's one of them, and let me get that second one for y'all. I have 2 extra pristine mats for you all. So I got multiple of these, and to 2 lucky winners, I'm going to be giving one to one person and one to another. And the person who wins the overall giveaway is also going to get a full Orcust deck. I can't guarantee it's going to be max rarity, but I'm going to see what I can do, and I'm going to try and make it look nice and pretty for you. It's not going to be the full deck, it's just going to be the core Orcust cards, but I want to be able to give you one of you all the ability to play one of my favorite decks. So just something I'm doing for you. You can always pop into our Discord. I believe that's where I'm going to be doing the giveaway. The Discord's always going to be in the description of my videos. I'm going to have a little bit more details once we start rolling up on that, but I just wanted to make you all aware of that. Now, back to the video. Alrighty, so here's going to be our first combo. It's just going to be Malice P White Rabbit, and that's going to be it. So we're going to start our turn. We're going to normal summon the White Rabbit. We're going to use White Rabbit set CBT 11 from deck, and then we're going to activate that CBT 11, banishing our White Rabbit to summon Dormouse out of our deck. Our White Rabbit's effect is going to activate. We're going to bring itself back, and we're going to link it to a Haggard. We're going to go Haggard to banish our Dormouse, Dormouse effect to bring itself back, and then Dormouse effect to banish Chessie to bring out Chessie. That's all of our main deck names. So now we can go into Red Ransom, go Red Ransom to add Malice and Underground, and then we were able to proceed from here. We're able to use those 2 to make a Splash Mage in order to bring back just a Malice name in order to make our White Binder. We're going to go White Binder. We need to make sure we banish our Red Ransom here, and we can banish the trap as well. Red Ransom is going to trigger special summoning itself and banishing a Dot Scraper. Dot Scraper, when banished, is going to special summon itself out. We're going to go White Binder to set a trap, sending GWC06 from our deck to our field. We're going to link that Dot Scraper into a Link Decoder, then we're going to go Decoder in White Binder to go into a Firewall Dragon, triggering our Link Decoder, bring itself back since the Cyber Sponsor 2300 or more attack was summoned using itself. So we're going to get that free body back, and then we're going to go Malice and Underground effect. We're going to banish our White Binder. Our White Binder is going to trigger, special summoning itself out and allowing us to draw a card. We need to summon it here so the Firewall Dragon is co-linked to both the White Binder and the Red Ransom. Drawing a card, we're going to go Firewall Dragon to target monsters in our graveyard, up to the number of co-linked monsters. Here we're going to target Chessie and our Dormouse. We're going to add those back to our hand, and then we're going to link summon using the 2 Link 3s and the Link Decoder to make our Malice Q Hearts Cryptor. Firewall has another effect, so it's going to allow us to summon this Chessie Cat out of our hand, and since we have not used the Chessie Cat effect to draw cards, we're going to use that to banish the other Malice that we added back from our graveyard, being Dormouse, to also make sure we have Malices in graveyard for our Hearts, and banish rather, for our Hearts Cryptor. So we're going to banish that and draw 2 more, and we're going to use all 3 monsters in order to make a Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid, Neo Tempest, Terahertz. We've drawn 3 cards throughout the course of the combo. They could be literally anything, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to use our Neo Tempest Terahertz to dump or to save Worm, set whatever cards we can, and pass. On this first one, I am going to show you what this interaction means to our opponent. So we're going to start off the turn. In the draw phase, we're going to activate our GWC06 in order to bring back our White Binder, gaining us 2,300 life points, and then our White Binder effect is going to activate. Here we're going to be able to target up to 3 cards. We're going to target our Hearts Cryptor, our Red Ransom, and here we're just going to target the trap, but we can also banish one of our opponent's monsters here at this point. Here we're going to trigger both our Red Ransom and our Heart Scriptor. We're going to special summon both of them. Red Ransom special summoning and then banishing. Here we're going to banish from our deck being a White Rabbit. And then our Heart Scriptor is going to summon over here. We want to summon it to where the Red Ransom is pointing to, so the attack and defense of our opponent's monsters are switched, so they can have a little more trouble dealing with our board. Then at a point of resolution, our White Rabbit is going to trigger, as well as our Red Ransom. Here we can chain block our Red Ransom so the search can't be ashed. We're special summoning our White Rabbit and adding our follow-up being Malice and Underground. Then White Rabbit is going to trigger on summon, allowing us to set the MTP-07. We do have the Malice links on board, so we are able to non-target banish a card our opponent controls just by banishing a card like our White Binder, since we haven't used its effect to bring itself back from banish, so we can even still get a draw off of that. We have our Spell Negate, we have our non-target banish, we have our second non-targeting banish, as well as the ability to send another card from our extra deck or main deck to the graveyard to continue our plays. Quite a strong board, all off of one card. So let us see what our Dormouse combo is. However, I am just letting you know at a certain point it's going to look very, very similar to what we have going on over here. Alrighty, so here's our Dormouse combo. It's a very nice combo, just Dormouse and that's it. So we're going to start off our turn. We are going to normal summon the Dormouse. We're going to go Dormouse effect, banishing White Rabbit. Then we're going to go White Rabbit effect in order to special summon itself out. White Rabbit effect to set CBT 11. Here we're going to perform the Link Summon to the Lizard. We're going to go Lizard banish Dormouse in order to special back out the Dormouse. Then we're going to go to Red Ransom to add the spell. And here's where the lines kind of differentiate a little bit. Last time we did have an extra body being Chessie Cat. This time we do not. So this time we are going to be activating our CBT 11, banishing our Red Ransom in order to bring out the Chessie. This is going to trigger our Red Ransom, allowing it to special summon itself out, banishing our Dot Scraper. And then Dot Scaper is going to special summon itself out, and here we can make the Splash Mage. We can go Splash Mage, bring back a Malice monster in order to make a White Binder. We go White Binder here. Instead of banishing our Red Ransom, since we already banished it, we need to banish our Chessie plus the CBT 11. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to go Chessie effect to bring itself back out, and then we need to go Chessie into a Link Decoder. We're going to go White Binder in order to set the trap, GWC06, and then we're going to go Link Decoder and White Binder to go with the Firewall Dragon. Link Decoder is going to bring itself back, and we're going to go Malice and Underground to finish the White Binder. White Binder bring itself back out, draw a card, Firewall Dragon to add back 2 cards, and now we're back at the exact same position we were in the last test hand. We're going to be able to make a Heart Scriptor, trigger our Firewall to special summon the Chessie, and then go Chessie to banish the Dormouse to draw 2 additional cards. So we're going to see that all happen. That's going to special the Chessie, and then Chessie is going to banish the Dormouse to draw 2 more. We're going to set those cards. We're going to go to Neotempest Terahertz Dragon in order to send the Save Worm to the graveyard, and now we're in the exact same position we were with the normal summon White Rabbit combo. Thank you all so much for watching, if you still are. Thank you to my one member, thank you Ari, and I'll be seeing you all next time. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all later. Bye-bye! Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you wanted to talk to more Yu-Gi-Oh players like yourself, I would highly recommend checking out our Discord server. Link is going to be in the description, as well as the QR code on screen. We do talk somewhat frequently about Yu-Gi-Oh and the current meta, so I would really enjoy to see you there. As well as we do recently now have channel memberships available on our YouTube channel, where we have 3 different tiers. We have Super Supporter at $2 a month, where you get loyalty badges, emojis, guaranteed comment responses, a shout out at the end of every video, as well as access to the members only Discord channel, where you get early sneak peeks at future videos. There is the Giga Supporter at $5 a month, where you have early access to all new videos about a day or 2 before they go up, as well as all the previous offers. And for $15 a month, we do have our final tier, which is going to be Femboy Fanatic. You get a guaranteed customized video every single month, as well as 1 hour of my time. Could be for anything you'd like. You want a duel? Absolutely. You want me to help build a deck? Absolutely. You want to play some Helldivers? Sure. I'll do anything for an hour once a month. But supporting does help me out quite a lot, and it does help me produce all of these videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be seeing y'all later. Bye-bye.